Alright, in this 19th episode, we are going to see how to create a plugin that will show the history of the pages edited. Let's suppose I am an admin and I am editing a page and I want the log or the history of who edited which pages. So this plugin solves that problem. Now consider I am editing this page. Let me just add some random value and click on save. Once I click on save, I am being the admin with the name UI Monk. If I refresh this page or if you click on this URL, you'll see the UI Monk has edited the page called contact form test page. Likewise, let me just log out and log in with some other administrator profile and edit a page, and let's see. Now I'm logged in as admin. Let me just edit this privacy policy page. Click on edit and let me just make some random update on the page which is privacy policy, and let me just click on the page edit logs, and now you should see the user admin has edited the privacy page on this particular time. Along with this, we have added the sorting for the table. You can see these arrow marks suggest that these columns are sortable based on time, based on username, based on page title, and the logs are actually saved in the table called this one, and these are the data that is being fetched and displayed on this particular page. Now in this tutorial we'll be using a hook called save post pages, and that is the hook which allows us to store these author and the post information into this table. Now let's see what are the topics that we are going to cover in this page. We are going to see how to create a custom table. You see, this table is actually a custom made. It doesn't come with the WordPress inbuilt database. We have made it by ourselves with the code. And the second thing that we are going to see is we are going to see how to create an admin menu. When I click, these are called menus and also called the sidebar menus. If I click, we are going to see how to create this sidebar menu. Once you click on it, you will see a table. And as I already said, we will be exploring what save post page does. The goal of this video is to explore one plugin per day, and this is the hero of our tutorial today. And along with that, we'll be seeing how to create a dashboard table. So once I click on it, these are the WordPress inbuilt table. We'll be modifying some class which is WP list page with the function. We will be overriding some function of that particular class which is WP list page, and we'll be customizing the column name. We'll be customizing how the data would be displayed on this particular table, and we'll be adding the feature called pagination. These are possible only because we'll be able to override the function which is provided by WP list page. And finally, I have shown you how to create the sorting and pagination. Pagination is active. You can see as of now we'll just see two rows per page, and if you wish to modify, you can modify it. This is for the tutorial purpose. I'm just making this 2 rows per page, and if it is a real working plugin, we would be showing at least 10 per page. Now that's it. Without wasting time, let's get into the code. Now the very first thing that we need to do is we need to create a folder on our plugin folder which is inside WP content. Let me just name it as logs, and since we have logs as a folder name, we need to have our PHP file as logs. It's not a rule, but it is intended just to name your PHP file which is going to be inside your logs.php. Now to show our plugin in this particular page, what we need to do is we need to add a comment. So that would be a PHP comment which will have our description, the version number, the author, and the name of the plugin. Let's just do that. And this is the code. We need to give the name as edited page logger, and the version and the author. And this is the minimum requirement to show your plugin in this particular page. As you refresh, you should see edited pages logger. So once I click on activate, I want the table to be created on this particular database. So how do we know that this plugin is activated? So there is a function called register activation hook, which which will word which what with the help of it, WordPress knows that the plugin is activated and the code need to be executed on activation. On activation of this plugin, I want this particular function to get executed, and once I execute it, I want to create the table. Before to create the table, what I need is I need this prefix. You see, this table has a prefix called wp underscore the table name. Now to get that, WordPress gives you a global variable which is wpdb. With it, that with the help of wpdb, we will be able to get the prefixes. Let's just do that. Now with this global dv wpdb, it's a global variable or a global object which WordPress provides. Now what we need to do is we need to write a query that will execute that will create a table, and we need to define the column first. We need id, post title, user id, username, and edit time. Along with that, we need to pass the data set. The data set is it's not data set, it's character set. The character set will help you to sort your data based on your database version. As the most famous version of database is UTF and UTF-8, which is data character set of the database. We need to know the character set before creating the database. Now with the help of get character set collate, we'll be able to receive the current data set. Now what we do is we'll write a query which the help of create table and store it into a variable, and this will have the login ID. This is going to be the primary key. You can see I have mentioned primary key, and then this is the post ID that got edited, and this is the post that we have edited, and the title would be saved here, and then we have our user ID, and then we have currently logged in user ID and the currently logged in username, and then we'll be having the time. Now to run this query, WordPress gives you a special function which is delta dv, and why delta dv? Delta dv is specifically for the custom table. For inbuilt table, we have wp underscore query variable or a global object. Now before using the delta dv, we need to specify the location of it. So here is the location which you can find in the wp admin includes and upgrade.php. This is the delta dv that you will get, and that delta dv will simply allow you to execute your SQL. Now once I activate this plugin, you should see the code should create a table with the name which we have mentioned over. You can see activity log is now created. Now what we need to do is, once we edit something, once we save the page or edit the page, WordPress gives you a hook that would run, so which is save post type. Let's just call that, and if we make a save or if we make an update, this hook would get called, and when this hook will call, we'll attach our function to it. So our function will have what post ID, what post we have edited, and which post, what post ID we have edited and which post we have edited, and is it update or is it just save. So we would be running this query only on the update, not on the save. So let's use that. And before that, I'm saying this function is not at the it is not at all priority. It's the least priority. That's why I'm giving 10, and I would be passing 3 parameter to my custom function or anonymous function. That's why I'm passing the 3 as an argument. So this is maximum. This save post page has only 3 argument. One is post ID, one is the post itself, and then we have the update or save. So we are specifying all 3. Now we need to check whether the user has updated the post or saved the post. If the user is not updating the post, then exit this function. So if the user is not updating, then return it. If he is not updating, of course he would be creating the page. So we don't have to run this function, so just exit it. And the second thing what we need to do is we would be checking whether the admin has the ability to edit the particular post or not with this post object. With this current user can is actually the one who is logged in, is checking whether he has the ability to edit the page, and this is the post ID, and if he don't have any authority to edit the page, then exit it. So that's the reason we have written we have used return. Now we need to get the currently logged in user. So the currently logged in user can be get by this get wp get current user, and it's stored in this variable. And we need to check whether he is an admin or not. Not just admin, whether he is able to, whether his data is there in the wp underscore user table or not. So this function will check, this condition will check whether the logged in user data is actually existing in the wp underscore user table or not. If not, then exit it. So these are the three major conditions that is required before saving our data into our custom table, which is this one, admin activity log. Now we need to run a query that would insert these data. So the login ID can be accessed with this user who is actually current user, and then we have the access to the post ID. You can see this post ID can be stored over here, and the post object, with the help of post object we can access the title, and with the help of the current logged in user we can get the current logged in user ID, and then with the help of again this function we'll have the access to the username, and then with the help of PHP we'll just include the time. So before doing any operation we need to first define our table. So we are defining our table, that this is a table that we are going to modify, and then we need to run the query. And this query is going to be simple one. As said, we have the access to the post ID, we have the access to the post title, we have access to the current logged in user ID, we have access to the current logged in user name, and with the help of current time, which is the PHP function, we are actually saving this. And once it's saved, let's just see we are able to log whether we are able to see the data getting saved or not. So I am again going to this page, some random text, and click on save. Once I click on save, the hook will get called, and based on the hook it has some parameter. Based on the parameter, the data we would be saving it on the table, and it's taking some time. Let's wait until it's done. You see the message, it says page is saved, and let's just refresh the table and we should see the table. Yeah, the admin, the username called admin has edited the privacy policy, and our function exactly, our hook exactly works as we needed. Now let's create a, I have to refresh this, let's create a new menu on this page. So it's very simple. We have already seen, this is the 19th episode, we have seen it on every function. It's very easy. So without wasting much time, what we'll do is we'll attach a hook called admin menu. When the admin menu called, this function would get executed, and this function will simply add a menu on the sidebar. So this is the function that does save your menu on the sidebar. So this is going to be the page title, this is going to be the h1 of the page, this is going to be the capability of the admin who accesses this menu, which is actually the manage option, and then this is going to be the slug. Slug is nothing but the URL you'll see once you click on this link, which will be there, and this is the function that we need to define it. Once we click on it, what should happen? Function, the name of the function, and let's just, as of now, let's just print saying hello, and once you click on activity log, you should see the slug got changed to what we have defined over here, and the function triggered a simple hello message. Now what we need to do, now we need to call a class which is provided by WordPress, and we need to create the object of the class, and we need to override the parent class function to our child class. And let's create the object first. Now what we'll do is we'll just create an object first. So this is the object of a class, and I stored it into a log table, and we'll be overriding this prepare item, and we'll be displaying the output. Now we need to create the object. So to create the object of this particular class, we need to define the class first, and that class would simply extend the inbuilt WordPress class, which is WP list table, and it will provide some functions so that we can, so to make our, it won't work. So what we need to do, so to display a table, what are the minimum thing? We need the column names, we need whether it is whether it will be sortable or not, and we need the each row from the table, from the database table, and a pagination. So let's just define the column name first, and this function will give you a function, this class will give you a function called get column, and on the left side these are actually the column name on the database table, and these are user defined. We want our column to be this, we want this column on this table to be as this column name, and now we need to specify which of the columns need to be sortable. So for that, again, this class will give you a function get sortable column. Now over here, this class gives you, this is on the left side, it's just the ID, you can have any random value, and on the right side it's very important, these are the column names from the table. It is specifying that do we need ascending order or do we need descending order. False means is at its ascending order, true means is descending order. Now we have defined the column name. Now what we need to do, we need to define the rows that need to be displayed over here. Now for that, what we need to do is we need to call the function which we have already used here, which is prepare item. Let's call that. With this prepare item, we'll just define the header first. We need to call this function with the help of the keyword. Now we have these two columns, and we are passing, you can see this function is nothing but this function, and again this sortable function is again the function which is declared above. Now again this wp list table will give you a variable, and this variable accepts 3 arrays. So this is for the name of the column, this is for the column that need to be hidden. As of now I don't want any column to be hidden, so that's why I have added array. Now this is for the sortable. Now for the rows which will come from the database, for that what we do is we simply have to run the query. So to run the query, we need to define the table first, as we have already done earlier. Let's use the wpdb global variable, and we need to run a query. So to run a query, here comes the pagination part and the default sorting. For the default sorting, we want the order to be based on the time, and we want the order to be descending order. So based on the sort, where the table will be sorted based on the time, and the time will be in descending order. Now we need to run a query. So before running a query, there is a lot that we need to be understand. Now what this query does, we have an order by timestamp and order by descending order, and these are the digits. So this first digit is actually the per page. Per page, how many data need to be shown? I want per page the data to be shown is 2, and this is offset. What do we mean by offset? Let's just understand a scenario. So we have, consider that we have a 10 page, 1 2 3 4 5 6, consider we have 5 pages, and as said, per page we will be having 2 data. So the first page will have 1 and 2, and the second page will have 3 and 4, and the third page will have 5 and 6, and the fourth page will have 7 and 8, and the 10th page and the 5th page will have 10. So these are the IDs. Now listen clearly. So these are the pages, and these are the relevant ID that is there. Again I am saying, on the first page ID 1 and 2 will be there, on the second page ID 3 and 4 will be there, on the third page, so on. Now what we need to understand is, what if now I need is which page I am in. Consider I am in the third page. So to get the current page I am in, WordPress has a function called get page now. So we'll have access to the current page. So consider I am in the third page, and what data that need to be shown, which is 5 and 6. Again I am repeating, I am in the third page, I want the data to be 5 and 6. And how do I know that the data would be 5 and 6? It's because of this offset. Now we need to have a calculation, not this offset but this offset. Now let's have a calculation. And how does it works? Per page, which is per page we have 2 data, and consider I am in the third page, which is 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 into 2, which is equal to 4. Now how much I need to show from where should I start? I want to start from 4. So it will start from 4 and takes only 2 values, which is limit 2, 4 and 5. So that 4 and 5 value will be on the third page. I hope it's clear. If you don't understand anything, just go back and watch again, and that's it. Now since we are fetching the data, now it's time to display the rows. So to display the rows, again the parent class gives a function called column default, and this is the column default. Sorry, before column default we need to set the pagination. So these are the pagination. We have total items, so we need to get the total items. Again we need to run a query so that we can get the total number of rows. So with the help of the get vars, we'll get the total, select all. We need the count, so we'll be just getting the count, and that is displayed over here, and this is the total number, and per page it's 2. And once your prepare item function is ready, now it's time for displaying the item. So this is going to be the row, and this is going to be the column. That's it. Now if everything goes right, we should see a custom page. Actually we need, just like how we have done for the delta dv, we need to define the class location here. We need to check whether we have already called it or not with the help of class exists. If the class doesn't exist, then add this class, which is wp admin includes. We can find this class on this particular location. Now if I make a refresh, and if I click on activity, the recent activity is this one. Let's just add some more activity, and let's see how our pagination works. So I'll show one more thing, which is when we click on sort, that I get. So let me just click some random. Let me just see some more values other than just one row, one boring row. So I have edited 3 pages, and we should see total 4 rows. Now if I click on, just notice the URL. So if I click on username, see what happens. Nothing gets changed. If I click on edit name, see the URL. If I click on page ID, see the URL. What is getting changed? We see that the order by variable gets changed, and the order changes to ascending order. So these are the 2 variables we need to get. So let's get that values. Why we are getting those values? Because we need to modify the order by and the order variable. So just above here we are getting the order by. You can see order by with the order by. This is called URL parameter. We are accessing it with the help of get PHP superglobal variable, and we are storing it into the variable called order by, so that we can use it on the query. The same way we are also accessing the order, and we are checking whether it's ascending or descending, and with the help of in array function. So this in array will check only whether this variable has ascending order or descending order. If it is ascending or descending, based on that these value would get updated, and that value you will use it in the query. And again you see here it's small case, and I am passing it as an uppercase with the help of string uppercase, and these get updated. And once you receive these values from the URL parameter, if I click on title, you can see these get sorted. So by this thing you might have noticed, on each click you are sending a database query, and that database query is displaying the relevant data. The same is true with the pagination. If you click on number 2, as I have already explained by writing the number, as I click on number 2, the this query again runs. And that data is fetched and displayed on this table. I hope the scope of this video is done. Thank you so much for listening. I'll meet you tomorrow with another hook, another new hook. Until then, bye.